There's three things that I never fail to discuss when we're talking to people that are new to this regenerative ag. And our effort to create our own fertility without having to buy expensive inputs, we started down the path of adaptive multi-paddock grazing, AMP grazing. That was first and foremost. And we also learned with friends that we grazed cattle with in Texas how important stockmanship was. And it immediately dawned upon us that cattle health does not come in a bottle. But we realized that stockmanship improves cattle gain, it improves cattle health, it greatly eliminates and reduces antibiotic use. And then the last thing, we learned about soil health, and we heard Ray Archuletta and Doug Peterson make a presentation, and they started the presentation with the slate test, the aggregate stability test, visuals with these glass canisters and how soils would either hold together or fall apart when mixed with water under different practices. Katie and I looked at each other and said, my gosh, the light bulb went off. And the interesting thing is, and I always tell young people, particularly who are trying to get into this business, those were management changes that did not cost a thing. You know, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
The kind of aha moment when you found out, we had been doing soil samples, you realized that we had been putting the synthetic fertilizer on. You were talking to your agronomist and he finally asked him, we're not seeing any improvement. And he said, well, this is a yearly thing. And Cooper said, you mean I have to do this every year? And he said, yeah. And he said, for the rest of my life? And he said, yeah. And that's when we realized, no.
That happened in 2008 when potash and DAP went to over 1,000 a ton, that financial crisis, and nitrogen was out of sight too. Every 3 to 5 years we would do soil tests, and I went back for years and just saw what kind of progress we made. And other than a little bit of organic matter increase, we really had not any improvements. I said, this is insane. It was an easy decision because a pasture guy, I'm not even sure a row crop guy could, but a pasture guy certainly couldn't afford those kind of potash and DAP prices. And we started, we just used a little nitrogen, but we were on a mission there to reduce our nitrogen use. And we did that through the high density grazing, through the planting of legumes. We tried to do it, through forages and biology. And that's what the soil health principles taught us. And working with nature, again, driven by finance in our minds, and then it just became so much bigger than where we thought we were going. But we worked at it over time, and our very, very first effort was high-density grazing.